Hey everybody, and welcome to the third part of the Trinity Islands park playthrough. So in the second part of the build, we essentially filled out the second island, the one at the back of the park, with a looping coaster and a log flume to go with the mine train coaster that was already there. And we also filled in the last remaining sort of gaps on the first main island as you walk into the park. So those two are pretty much done now. The very first thing I kind of did here was rename a bunch of rides. I got some really good name suggestions at the end of the last episode from quite a few people. So we started off with the Steel Mini Coaster. We changed that to Tropical Punch. That was from Antarian. Tropical Thunder, we gave that name to the swinging ship. Daredevil Dive from Jack Green. That was for the looping coaster. I got a great suggestion, Maramoto from Sea Otter Pooper, which I kind of just made a twist on that and just called it called the log flume Maramoto log flume. I think that fit pretty well, especially given it's a water ride. The suspended swinging coaster, the mini one, called that Beach Bum. That was from Alex Mariani. And what else was there? There's one more from Eternal Light, but that ride hasn't been built yet. Eternal Light 4425, I should say. Now, speaking of Eternal Light 4425, they had a great suggestion for the queue of the log flume, which was one of the first things I adjusted here. Basically, to move that under the path and sort of put the entrance of the queue line near the vertical loops and just above where the first drop of the log flume starts. I think that was a really good suggestion, and it sort of removed the awkward high path that was originally there, which I wasn't a huge fan of, so I got rid of that, and I think that was a really good idea. Much appreciative of that suggestion. So after that was done, I think I just might have done a few little admin things around the place like staff, but it was time to sort of get cracking on the last bit of the island here, or the last of the three islands. So I started off with a launched freefall. I just wanted to get the ride in. I didn't really put too much thought into where it went. I just sort of picked a spot and went with it. There are some changes, especially to the queue line, for that later on, but after that it was time to get stuck into sort of the main last coaster of the park, which was also going to be sort of the flagship attraction of this area. So that's going to be an inverted coaster. I had a lot of fun with this one, although I like I usually do, I play around with ideas off camera, and like before I do the actual recording of the playthrough here. And so when I was playing around with ideas, I had quite a few different options that I could have went with, it was I think you'll like the end result. Just made a quick change to the Steel Mini Coaster here. Actually, I turned on ride improvements into the research to unlock the spinning cars, just to give it a little bit of difference over the other Steel Mini in the park, which was already using the Ladybird vehicles itself. So I wanted a little bit more variety. It also bumped up the capacity quite substantially. I think the 6 car train that was there, so 6 times 2 is 12, now is increased to 4x4 16s. So that was actually super beneficial, and since it's such a short ride time, I think the income from that ride would have substantially increased. So sort of wins all around there. But after that, it was time to get stuck back into the inverted coaster here. I was playing around with the idea of sort of a big turnaround over the station, like a much higher one than what's here, and then maybe a helix around the drop tower. But I decided in the end it would be more fun to sort of go with a higher speed turn after the vertical loop, and then sort of drop it back down after do a bit of a dive after the station, then climb back up into what's meant to be a sort of a 0G roll with the inline twist there, and then sort of the area sort of across the path from the haunted house. That sort of felt like a really nice spot for some sort of inversion there. So went with a Cobra roll, which was a little tricky to get in the end, especially with the modifications with the pathing around there, which I had to do, just because the clearance requirements for inverted coasters are kind of painful to work with. So did have to make a few changes to sort of accommodate that. But yeah, I think the spot that the Cobra roll sits in, I think works really well. And I think if you're walking across that bridge sort of between the looping coaster and inverted coaster, I think that would be a pretty sweet spot for some photos. But yeah, so after that Cobra roll, got a bit of a high speed, well, it's not really an airtime hill because it's inverted, but yeah, it's a high speed sort of climb back into a drop. As you can see, we're kind of weren't really struggling for money, but I did have to make some adjustments throughout the park with ride prices. There was 3 or 4 rides that the guests were no longer riding because they had become too expensive, so I had to quickly adjust those. The money troubles I was having last episode is thankfully pretty much over at this point, so we've got a few grand in the bank. Building that looping coaster last episode was kind of painful. I could only build like 2 or 3 pieces at a time, then I'd run out of money, have to go and do something else while waiting for income. And fortunately I don't have to do too much of that for the inverted coaster here. So yeah, after that sort of high-speed turn, I really wanted to get a climb sort of back up towards the loop, and it's sort of threads its way back through there. And then I put in a small tunnel just before our last that corkscrew, and then just a couple quarter helix pieces into the final brake run. It was kind of I was really struggling for space there, especially with the brake run, but thankfully found something that I think looks satisfactory enough. I think Brian would be saying that the brake run's not quite long enough, which is probably true, but I'm happy enough with how it looks. After the coaster was built, part of the reason, well, I guess part of the consequence of having the high speed turn after the loop, or that high speed turn after the loop meant that I had to substantially modify the pathing in this area, and it was getting to the point where I'm like, this kind of is a bit ridiculous, the amount of change I have to make, but in the end I think it paid off. I was pretty happy with the end result. With the coaster here, I was thinking, like, I did like the way it looked, but I felt like I just wanted to have like something a little bit extra. So what I ended up doing was going for a bit of a helix around the sort of swooping drop into the Cobra roll, and I think that turned out really nice. It gives a bit of extra element or piece of track over the water, which I think would be fun, and just kind of threads its way around itself, and I think it would be a really cool bit of path interaction just with the pathing as you enter that island there as well. Again, had to do a bit of path modification, which was fine. It was a bit more than I was originally hoping I'd have to make, but it is what it is, and I think the end result is I think it was worth it in the end. So after that, it was finally time to do some testing of the ride. I was hopeful that the intensity wouldn't be too high, and I don't think it was in the end. I think it was around 8.5 or 9, which is very high, but like for an inverted coaster with 3 or 4 inversions, I think that's pretty well unavoidable. These coasters really do have quite high intensities, as they do in real life, the ones I've ridden anyway. Got that pathing in, just had to go like quite low into the terrain, had to do sort of a bit of a canyon and a bit of a tunnel, but I think it looked alright in the end. The queue line, I would rather have not built that right across the water, but it was pretty well the only spot available at this stage. I suppose I could have tried around the going back the other side, but no, maybe not actually. The corkscrew there sort of takes up the majority of space over in that direction. So yeah, I think it's fine how it is. Wanted to get in a few more plazas into this island, just like I had been doing for the other areas of the park. And yeah, I realized I forgot to reconnect the queue line for the chairlift here, so there's quite a few guests missing out on a potential chairlift ride, which is a bit of a shame for them, but got that connected back up in the end. Did a little bit of landscaping around this part too. Adjusted a few ride ticket prices again, which is quite annoying to have to do, but I think it is worth it, especially with the way I build and spend so much money on landscaping and trees and stuff that I sort of need to charge the maximum ticket price I can. So yeah, I really do need every dollar I can get, but yeah, unfortunately that does mean I have to do a bit more micromanaging of ride ticket prices and keep an eye on rides that are too expensive for the guests. But yeah, after that was that little bit of admin was done, it was time to sort of get stuck into the main terraforming and landscaping for the inverted coaster. So I did a bit of rock work around the Cobra Roll and around that final helix I did, and that, yeah, I think that turned out alright. Just wanted to go for a bit of a ragged, rough-looking coastal area there, I suppose. I think I mentioned in the last couple episodes that I was going for a different theme for each island. So the first one being sort of a tropical theme, then the second island sort of a woodland adventure, and this island here is meant to be sort of a haunted theme, which is kind of tricky to do without like any of the spooky theming, but do try our best to use some of the trees that I think look decent for a haunted theme. Usually the dark greens and some of those, I don't even know they're quite light green. Those little small trees that's just near the exit of the car ride that I just built. I think they tend to look pretty good in a haunted area or setting as well. Yeah, that car ride, I felt like the area was missing sort of another gentle ride option, and considering the haunted house popularity was just like virtually non-existent, I thought another little car ride would go well. Unfortunately, that meant I had to change the car ride, the first car ride pricing, because there's now 2 rides in the park, which means the ticket price you can charge is quite a bit less. But yeah, I think it was worth it. Just kind of interacts nicely with one of the plazas there and goes around the launched freefall and underneath the supports of the inverted coaster, but doesn't chop away too many of those supports, which I was a little bit worried about. I think the car ride is kind of good for that. So yeah, I think that worked out nicely. Just gave it the pickup trucks just for something a little bit different. I forgot what I called it in the end. I don't think it was anything too interesting. But yeah, then I just resumed the decorating and theming. Wanted to remove, add more rock and dirt land textures, because just having the grass doesn't look too haunted, I guess, and I needed to sort of add some more distinguishing features over the other islands. So I think the rocks and the dirt helped that. Probably went a bit more overboard on like the dark green shrubs in particular. Put in the brick fence with the railings near the haunted house, which I think lend itself well to a haunted theme, as Brian's been doing quite a bit on his haunted houses of late. So yeah, that's definitely an idea that I pinched from him. Just filling in the little gaps here of the in the little corners of the car ride. I put in a few flower beds into some of the plazas, which probably could have been a little bit more creative there, but they just work so well, and I think I tried to do some different colors. I think the purple flower beds look pretty good for a haunted setting. I went a little bit more extravagant for the sort of lead up to the island, especially on the sort of Cobra Roll side entrance, where I put in a couple horse statues, which I think looked pretty good in the end. It was just sort of a experiment that paid off. So yeah, I think that looked alright. Did a bit of I think the dirt texture under that high speed turn after the vertical loop on the inverter coaster looks quite nice. So I think that it just really exemplifies the fact that it's a trench. So yeah, happy with how that turned out. So then it was sort of time to put in, I think this was the last ride, Gravitron. Now, one of the options I was exploring for the inverter coaster was a nice big helix just before the 0G roll. I wanted to sort of, after that dive through the station, I wanted to have sort of a high speed turn to the right, going back up into the Cobra roll, into the 0G roll. But I thought that would just rob a little bit too much space of the island, and the inverter coaster already takes up quite a substantial portion of the map here anyway, so I didn't want it to become too dominant there. So I settled on the helix near the Cobra roll, and I think it turned out pretty well. And that gave me additional space to put that Gravitron in, which I think was a good thing, because now we've sort of got a good balance of rides in this part of the map. We've got the 2 thrill rides, the coaster, and a couple gentle rides plus the chairlift. So yeah, happy days, I think. I think it was at around this point where I unlocked the mine theme, which I was really grateful for, because I think a few bits of the mine scenery, like although it's not like it's not spooky by any means, but I think it lends itself well to the spooky theme, like especially with just like the broken wheels and bits of junk, a few barrels here and there. So I was happy that I could at least throw in some little bits of scenery like that. I think it worked out pretty well there. Oh yeah, and I ended up calling that inverter coaster Hunter, which was that suggestion from Eternal Light 4425. So yeah, really appreciate that. Thank you. So it was around this time that I unlocked, finally, some extra food stalls, which was great because the poor guests had to deal with basically ice cream and soda up until this point. So yeah, I think I got the pizza stall and the fries stall. So yeah, some much needed variety in the park now. Food wise, so yeah, I set the pizza stall up in the haunted area, just sort of overlooking the high speed turn of the inverter coaster, just over the water, and I think that turned out really nicely. Just put in a little bit of a seating area, and I think that would be a prime spot to grab a slice and watch everyone on the ride there. And I also did a little bit of rock work around the queue line of that inverter coaster as well, just because, as I mentioned before, I didn't really like the way it just sort of spread itself out over the water. So I think a bit of rock work there helps sort of integrate it with the landscape around there. So yeah, that was I was happy with that change. Added in a few extra concession stands like toilets and toilets as well on the haunted area, and just filled in the last remaining gaps there. Candy floss stall as well, which of course you've got to put in a haunted area if it's available. Also added a few final concession stands to the second island at the back of the park here, so added in that fries stall in the space of the ice cream, where the ice cream store was. I think some extra variety there is always good. And added in, one last ride actually was the canoes. So I thought, given there was so much water, I think another boat hire was pretty necessary for this map here. So I was glad to kind of get that snuck in there, and it added some variety to this area in terms of gentle rides, because there was only really the spiral slide out here. So yeah, sort of yeah, it's sort of all balanced out nicely. Got a couple thrill rides here in the swinging vertiship and the log flume, 2 coasters and 2 gentle rides. So yeah, I think that worked out really well. Yeah, just put in quite a few bits of the mine theming around this island as sort of the last major project or task here. Of course, given it was sort of woodland, sort of forest adventure theme, I think some mine scenery was pretty crucial for this part of the map here. Also added a bit of the dirt texture underneath the mine train coaster, just because I think that it just really suits the mine train coaster, and I think maybe because mine train coasters look good on this as this sort of light brown color, so the backdrop of the dirt texture on the ground just yeah, I think it just looks really suitable. Really works quite well. So just a few little ride prices to quickly adjust at the end here. And then I realized sort of at the end that like I'd forgotten completely about this little part of land just as you walk into the park. So it was pretty much empty as it was, and that was no good. So I needed to quickly think of something there. So what I ended up doing was I put one big tree near the park entrance building that sort of represented each island. So we got the big palm tree representing the tropical, the sort of haunted tree representing the haunted theme, and then sort of a typical forest tree representing the woodland forest adventure theme. So yeah, all in all, I'm pretty happy with how this scenario turned out. I think my only real complaint was the fact that so many guests sort of were concentrated around the main entrance of the park, particularly around the carousel and the junior coaster here. For some reason, just I think it was the way I set the path up in terms of all the plazas. Like I think guests just had a hard time finding their way or distributing themselves across the park. So yeah, this first island was really sort of crowded, and the rest, like the back 2 islands, not really as many guests, and I had quite a bit of trouble getting full rides on or full trains on those coasters. But all in all worked out and passed the objective pretty comfortably. Ended up with well over 1,000 guests with the objective of 750, I think it was. But yeah, anyway, I think that's just about it here. I'll yeah, leave you with just following the trains on the coasters, and I'll finish off with some sort of before and after shots at the end. So yeah, thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the final part of the build here, and look forward to hopefully seeing you in the next video. Thank you very much, and cheers. Bye.